And good morning and welcome to Touch Base Daily. My name is Ron Foster, touching base with you as I always do every day. How are you guys doing on this water cooler Wednesday? I gotta get some interviews in here on these Wednesdays again. But I've been having such a great time with you guys. So I've been torn, and plus I've been trying to also get this house broken down for painting and all the other stuff that's going on in my world. And today is a big event. Tonight is our wonderful Manhattan Chamber event. And so we will be meeting at Italy in Soho, and we're going to have a great time doing that this evening. It is a nasty day here in New York City. The rain has been pouring all morning, all day, through the night. But it's going to be a good evening tonight. I'm sure it will be, as we do every time we're together. So how are you guys doing? What's new in your world? What is new in your world on this wonderful Wednesday? Hump day. It's hump day. How are you doing? How are you doing on this wonderful hump day? And what are you drinking? I am drinking my hibiscus today. I finally made a nice hibiscus tea. And it works. It does miracles for me. I love it. Hibiscus tea. It is so good. And so what's going on in your world today? What is happening in your world? I see some folks are in the building. And I just sent an invitation out to a couple of people. If they want to pop on, they are more than welcome to. Like Miss Alieze, if you want to pop on, you can come on if you want to. And what am I doing here? Okay, there we go. I'm just trying to get my get the Instagrammer folks in here, and let's see if they want to pop in here as well. So that's going out. I did not do any. I didn't do marketing today. No, I did no marketing today. So there you have it. So guys, what's going on in your world? I see. Let me just say hello to everyone. Oh, let me show your hellos. And Hannah is the first person in the building, as usual these days. Good morning, Ron and Touch Base Daily family. Jazzy's in the building. She says, good morning, beautiful people. And morning, Lisa. Lisa says, morning, everyone. And Rashawn, good morning, Ron and Touch Base Daily family. And good grand rising, Ron and everyone with the flowers. And Kelly, good morning, everyone, she says. Oh, speaking of Kelly, this evening is our game night. Just so you know, it's game night tonight, and we'll be meeting here at 11:30, and we do our Wordle, spelling bee, and connection. Okay, Alieze is saying good morning, everyone, and we have also Mimi is in the building. Hey, Mimi. Hi, Ron and RLP crew. And Rashawn is here saying that I am off the next 4 days, and I'm in much need of rest, and I'm drinking water. Congratulations on a break, Rashawn. You work hard. You've been working double time. Lisa Sealy says, just letting you know, I'm not coming tonight. It's raining. I'm sugar, and I will melt. Lisa. Well, we'll have more events every month. We have our meeting and networking around town. So let me know when you want to join me. You are more than welcome to do so. I will make it happen. Bryson says, what's up, Ron? What's up, LRP fam? What's up, everybody? Happy Wicked Wednesday. Elise says, good morning. Good morning, Rashawn. Oh, but I will be at the game night. She said, I will be at the game night. I hear that. And let's see. Hannah's in the building saying, and y'all guys are sharing. Okay, good morning. Good morning. Okay, I see all the good mornings. Good mornings. And let me see something. Today is an easy day. You know how we do on Wednesdays. When we do water cooler, it's no fanfare. We are just hanging out. It's just us and whoever wants to join in. If you're in the building, make sure you hit the likes and hit the likes or the thumbs up, all that good stuff, so that the algorithms know that we are here and alive and that you are here and alive with this platform. So there you have it. Let me see. What was I getting ready to do? I was getting ready to do something here, and yes, I know what I was getting ready to do. I was getting ready to do this because I do know that someone is in. I heard some feet. I heard some feet in the back door. Here we go. Do I hear it again? I'm saying, what's going on? And here we go. I think it's another person. Coming. I'm coming. Alieze, what's going on?
Good morning. I was going to say someone's knocking at the door.
Someone's knocking at the door. Somebody's ringing my bell. It's so good to see you. It feels like I haven't seen you on here in a while. Because you've been busy. You've been doing your thing. You did your show last week, and and it's just you've been doing your thing. You've been on the road, girl.
That and my dental appointment, all I guess.
Yes, so you had your dental appointment the week after I had mine.
Right.
We're taking care of those teeth because you want to keep your own teeth so you don't have to get any false ones.
As long as possible.
Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed. So how are you doing? What's new in your world, Alieze?
I'm doing well. It's raining down here as it is up there. I'm supposed to be going to the Preakness event up in Baltimore tonight.
Oh, nice.
Of course, it's raining, so
you'll be going still. The rain don't stop us. Look,
I'm gonna have to be dressed warmly because it's on Pier 6. Pier 6 is technically outdoors.
Okay.
So it's covered, but we have to see.
Today's a little cool here in New York as well. It's like they say no higher than 61 today. So it's gonna be a cool day. It's a raw day, as they say. The rain seems to be raining uptown in Manhattan, but down here in Brooklyn and Staten Island, Staten Island looks like it's a little rainy over there too.
Yeah, it's raining,
it is
what it is. So still doing, always doing my art stuff, and I have another talk coming up tomorrow night at 7:30.
Oh, wait. Hold the presses. That's 2 weeks in a row?
2 weeks in a row. What am I?
Oh my goodness, Alieze. 2 weeks in a row. You got your show going on?
2 weeks.
That's called momentum. I'm liking it.
Like, I'm trying to be consistent and disciplined because I'm bad at that part. Like that, I have to work on that. And so I said, let me be consistent. And I have artists who are waiting for conversations. Like they keep saying, I'm ready whenever you are. I was like, okay.
Nice.
When you start showing up events and they said, I think we were supposed to have a conversation. I was like, okay, I'm going to get to you. So I'm trying to do that. So I have a couple of people who are waiting for me.
That is absolutely amazing. Last night, my buddy and I, you always hear me say my Latin lover. And we've been friends for more than 25 years. And it's her birthday this month. So we always celebrate each other's birthday. So we'll go out for my birthday in February, and then we go out for her birthday in May. However, for my birthday, she was with me at the hospital getting my surgery. So she was my point person at the hospital when I had my surgery. Anyway, great friendship. I love Linda so much. Anyway, we went to this amazing restaurant last night. It was, I'm not a steak person, but let me tell you, let me just see if I can get this on the screen because it's on 9th Street we say Chelsea/Village. And it was, the service was so good. And if you are in New York, I said, I got to share this one. I have to share this one because the neighborhood is great. It's a great 9th Avenue, 9th Street. Here we go. And it had the decor. The decor, it just makes you feel like it's called And Sun Steak Easy. Yes.
Wow.
Here it is. Oh my gosh. Let me just take you to their website. I just wanted to share it. I mean, they're not asking me to obviously share this, but I wanted to share because I wanted to give them a little shout out because the food was excellent. The service was excellent. The architecture and design was, because I'm about the aesthetics and designs, interiors, and man, look at this place. It's called And Son Steak Easy. Now, I am not a steak eater. They had an amazing roast chicken that I had. It was really great. But look at the decor. And they do have a, the easy, what they call it, speakeasy or something easy.
Right.
And they have the bar and the liquor and all. I took so many photos. I'll be sharing it on my page, on my personal page. But I was so impressed with this restaurant. The decor, these beautiful chandeliers, and incredible. So if you're in New York City and you want a great restaurant, it's in Greenwich Village. They call it. Okay, so it is Greenwich Village. 62 West 9th Street between 5th and 6th Avenue. And then after that, Linda and I went for a walk just down 9th Street and just taking in all of this old architecture with beautiful doors. So I made a collection of doors, like going just from door to door, photo doors. And it's just one of those old neighborhoods where Greenwich Village was technically a village,
right?
And it was in between the industrial age and I don't call it I guess you can call it the colonial, because downtown from the village and in certain streets of the village, you see the streets are in there all puzzles, like, from the colonial days.
Kind of cobblestones.
Yes, and you have the cobblestones and everything.
Yeah, you do have those down there.
And then above, I mean, you have the streets getting the way we call it the grid. But the Greenwich Village is still based on the cobblestones and mismatched sidewalks and streets and, Anyway, the food was excellent. The people were wonderful. I said, oh, this is a great place to just kind of like, I don't know what to do with this information. As in, I was like, maybe I should have a get together here. I just want to be in this space. I mean, this is one of my, you once in a while you run into a space and you say, I would create an event just to be in this space.
Right.
Had a fireplace, symmetrical long windows that were like 10 feet tall, maybe 12 feet tall. The fireplace was marble. It was like being in a chateau in France. It was just beautiful. It was
a nice place to be on a rainy night.
Yeah. Yes. I want to go back for seconds. I was like, the food was so good. I was stuffed when I came home. I said, Linda, she said, we can only do this once or twice a year. I said, well, we got to do it again. We got to do it before your birthday next year. And, but it was absolutely wonderful. So it's called And Son in Greenwich Village. Check it out. They have other locations in New York City as well, but that is the location I would go to.
Right.
And it's so unassuming because it like you go down and then go in. And they don't have all this fanfare stuff on there. No lights, nothing. It's just, it's like a secret place.
Well, that's nice. So look, I don't eat chicken or steak, so I guess something for me.
I don't usually I still eat chicken once in a while. Like if I'm with friends and we all go out and we hang out and we're in a restaurant, I say, okay, I'll have some. But normally I'm a fish person. I'm usually looking for my salmon. I'm looking for my anything fish. But the food was amazing.
I'm glad to hear that. I'm always looking for amazing food, and when I come up that way, and my son usually finds some pretty good places. So, but he's probably more peculiar about eating than I am. So, my son was born a vegan.
Oh, really?
He was born a vegan.
He really doesn't like meats.
Yeah, we had to kind of, by the time he got to be a teenager, kind of figure out what we could get him to eat. So he'll eat a good chicken tender or something. Really? But he literally was born a vegan.
Really?
Yeah.
That's how lucky is that? Because I mean, not to be, not to have the need or want to consume meat is a good thing.
Yeah, he said he didn't
I like it for the texture. I like meat it's the texture.
He still will not touch he will not touch seafood at all. He said it's awful.
Really?
Yeah,
so
and that was the problem.
So he doesn't have any meat whatsoever.
So the problem was, like, we tried to figure it out, and we talked to the doctor, and they were like, "Oh, just do the vitamins and everything." So what it is, and I said, what was the problem? He said, "Well, when you cooked, it didn't smell good to him." And so the doctor concluded he had a very strong olfactory sense, so it smells like burning flesh.
Really?
Yeah. So he said that's what it smelled like to him. So seafood, it smells awful to him. So
wow.
No matter how you cook it, it doesn't matter what it is. He will not touch seafood.
That is interesting. I've never. Well, no, my cousin who is a vegetarian, she's the same way. She doesn't like the smell of meat. She can't eat this. She can't get past the smell. I was like, and I'm like eating, and I'm like, I don't smell anything.
Like,
fried I used to eat a lot of meat back in the day.
Fried chicken smells good to us, and it smells good.
Oh my goodness, a good fried chicken is like delicious. I mean, the smell is what gets you.
Give the child the piece of chicken, and he would throw it on the floor.
Oh,
when he was little, he was a toddler. He would just throw it away. He wouldn't eat it. And so I was like, okay, but he would eat any vegetable you put in front of him. He would eat all the vegetables.
And he's unique. Yeah, he is unique.
Yeah, he's gotten better. Like I said, he'll eat the occasional chicken tender, and he loves Asian food, so he can hang out with people. He just tell them what he eat, and he doesn't eat. He went through high school, and they call him the PB&J boy because he would bring peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and because he didn't like anything else. And so I told him, I said, if he were young now, we would have a problem because the school would have to make special arrangements for him to be able to sit in the principal's office or someplace to eat his peanut butter and jelly, because I wouldn't keep him from eating what he ate.
Yeah.
For some other child's sake. I wouldn't do that. They'd have to figure out special arrangements for that.
I used to have my lunchbox was filled with all kinds of goodies.
I tell you, it was peanut butter and jelly, and he was happy, and it didn't matter. It was all, even as a high schooler, it was like, I don't care what you all say. That's what I like to eat.
Wow. And then was not consumed by peer pressure.
Well, he's much like our friend Gwendolyn.
Okay.
He's a Virgo.
Say no more.
He's like really got that personality. I really don't care what you think.
Yes.
I do.
They live life to a different drum.
Oh, absolutely. You could go out with him, and he's like, okay, I'm tired, and you like, oh, stay. He's like, I'm tired, I'm going by. See you the next time.
Wow. The food plane says, he says, I was a chef for a while at a vegan restaurant. You would be amazed how delicious vegan, vegetarian food can be if done right. We have several of those places in New York City. There's one in Crown Heights that we go to. There's a family-owned business on the east side of, I think, Lower East Side of Manhattan. Their vegan restaurant is amazing.
Auntie and uncles, aren't they? They're vegan, I think. That's the one.
I think so. I think that's the one
over in Brooklyn, and didn't know where I was going, and walked like 12 miles that day to get a vegan lobster roll. It was really good.
I've never been there before, and that's right here in Brooklyn. You said,
yeah, they have a really good lobster roll.
I love food. If it tastes good, I don't care if it's vegan, but I am more prone to eat vegan food than eating meat. I probably have meat once a month, maybe twice if someone does something special.
Right. And I was a vegan for over a year. But then I started looking at my protein markers and had to figure out how to make up for the protein I needed. But I make a really, really good vegan pot pie. And all my meat eating family loves it. And my granddaughter, that's like one of her favorite meals is that vegan pot pie.
Oh, I love food. I am a foodie. I love it. I can eat all day, but there are restrictions. So I have a question to everybody in the community. how many of you are vegans? If you are a vegan, put it inside the wave, do a wave hand or something. I mean, there are some true vegans in the world, and I'm a mixed bag of I'm always of the philosophy in life. I've just been this way all my life, is not to do anything in excess, but to do everything in moderation.
Right.
So that's just my motto in living life. I love to have wine. I'm not a liquor person. Last night they had this, I saw hibiscus on the drink menu, and I said, "What is that? What is that?" And he told me it was whiskey and all these ingredients. And I was like, nope, let's go to wine.
That wasn't what you were looking for.
He said, it's just hibiscus syrup. And I was like, and I was like, it was something called something sour. And I was like, okay, next.
Like one of those whiskey sour things.
And Linda started to laugh. She said, as soon as I said that, I said, do you happen to have a Riesling?
I see Dr. Tachi says she's not a vegan, but she eats very little meat.
So the food plane says yes, he is a vegan.
Oh, okay.
And Kimmy Kim is a vegan.
Oh, okay.
Or she's saying hello. I think she's saying hello. Maybe she's saying hello.
Yeah.
And who else in the building is a vegan? And Dr. Tachi's a partial vegan. She says, like, I'm not a vegan, but I don't eat very much meat. I'm the same. See, I'm in that category. And G says, I'm the daughter of a private chef. I'm eating all the things, all the good things. And she does. Gwendolyn will eat, but she's, people in Texas, not to pick on Texans, but I will say, people in Texas, I don't even know I don't know if there's any vegans in Texas.
Because they live on their meats. They love meat.
It is. Remember I told you guys, I went to a wedding in Austin, and we did food tours, and everything was about, all the brisket, and I'm a sucker for good brisket, and I don't really, like I said, I very rarely eat red meat. So that is almost like totally like foreign. But I tell you, when I was in Texas, when I returned home from Texas, I had to get a purge and all the other stuff. I ate so much meat. The sausages, all the meat that's out there. Yeah, Texas is that kind of place. It's like, I don't care where you go, and everything is big in Texas. They have some of the biggest restaurant franchises that give you. There was one place I went to when I used to work for the Container Store. Our headquarters was in Texas. There was this place, I think it was called Whataburger or something like that. And the burgers were so huge. They were the size of a person's head. And you would see these people eating these burgers. And I was like, what the hell? Where's that going to go? It's like they just kept eating.
Now I'll tell you, the less meat you eat, the less body odor you have.
This is very true.
It's very true. Like
very true.
I rarely ever experience it. I know, like, if I eat animal protein, then I say, okay, I ate an animal protein, so I know where that's coming from. But yeah, the more meat you eat meat, that's where it comes from. I don't even want to understand how that processes and why it smells so sometimes.
Yeah, I remember reading that in a vegan publication or something, maybe it was about 3 or 4 years ago, when I started to I wanted to try to be a vegan. I was like, that's not. But I remember reading that you have less body odor when you take out the meat. They say your body smells different.
Well, I'm a living testament to that.
And I know I agree, because I remember when I started eating all like veggies and vegan stuff and no meats at all. I just did it for just a moment. And but I don't really have body odor you want to hear something that's really interesting about body odor? Did you know, any of my Korean friends out there?
Yeah, Asian people.
My buddy is Korean.
Yes.
He has no body odor.
Mm-hmm.
They have what's called there's something in their gene that certain Korean people don't have body odor. So that's why when you go to Korea, there's no deodorant in a lot of places because there's no need for deodorant in Korea.
I read that. Yeah, I heard that recently about them and body odor.
My buddy has no body odor. He could work out, he could play, he could do whatever he wants and will not have body odor. Isn't that incredible?
We make up for it. Americans make up for it.
But it was shocking to me. And his wife and how I went down that rabbit hole. My best friend, his wife, and she said, Dembo doesn't have any body odor. I was like, what are you talking about? He has no body odor. She goes, no, Koreans don't have body odor. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. So me. When someone tells me something, I had to go in and start digging, and I started going through the Google machine and start going in. And then they were talking about the chromosomes, and they were talking about the DNA, they were talking about the signatures, and I was like, really fascinating how the Korean people evolved. They had no need they had no body odor. Right,
which is very interesting. That
crazy. Yeah. Dr. Taji says, in grad school, I temped at the National Cattlemen's Beef Association during a conference. One of them looked at me and said in a heavy Texas accent, "You like beef, don't ya?" And I felt compelled to say yes. The foodies are in the building. The food plan says Crown Heights has a strong West Indian population and the food is amazing. Gloria's roti. I grew up with. Oh yes, Gloria's. Trinidadians are lovely people.
They make some good food if it's right. We have a little carry out down the street from me, and I went and tried I've gotten the rotis before. This time rotis. I said, let me get a bust up shut.
Yes.
I would have got that.
Yes. That's what we used to grow up. We grew up at that shop.
My brother-in-law. So good.
Yes.
It was so good. I was like, this is so good. I was like,
so good. I would just, I will go to a West Indian restaurant that has roti and just get the skin.
Mm-hmm.
I just love the skin of what they use, how they put it together. I have no idea. Yeah. But I can eat it alone. I love it. And Bust Up Shop was in Flatbush area. And we used to get in the car.
So Bust Up Shop is the bread.
But they had a restaurant called Bust Up Shop in Brooklyn.
Right.
And we used to get my my brother-in-law, which was my best friend growing up, would say, let's go get some Bust Up Shop. We get in the car and ride on over and get that. And we would just eat it up. It was so busted up. She said those as busted up. And food.
My granddaughter ended up eating the rest of it. She's like, Grandma, can I have the rest of that bread? Because
the bread is the bread.
Oh, she ate the rest of it. She was like, I'm gonna eat that. I said, go ahead, help yourself.
Food thing says shrimp roti is my jam.
I had
Dr. Ty says love bust up. Bust up, yeah.
Yeah, bust up. But I had one that had shrimp and with that, chickpeas, which they call chana.
Yes.
So I had the one with the shrimp and chana. So good. It was so flavorful. I was like, I have to go back and get some more of that.
I just had roti skin. I had roti Saturday or Friday. Yeah, I love me some roti. I can have roti, but I don't eat. Like I said, I try to get well, they don't really have a vegan one, but I get the one with just the meatless. Try to get the meatless and just have they have like a cauliflower and some other things that are in there. So, but yeah.
Right.
Anyway, we went down the food road today.
We did. Now, what's in the news?
What's in the news now? I'm a little. I don't know if I should go down this route, but I'm going to have to just go there because I was like. The Diddy Trial. Have you guys heard what was said in court yesterday?
I've heard very little.
Oh my gosh. And the video just was released today on TMZ or whatever. The actual full 7-minute footage of the whole, his girlfriend and the wrestling tossing, kind of like the kicking and everything in the hotel. I was like,
Jesse said stick to the food.
He said stick to the food. That was so crazy. When I looked at Dawn yesterday, I sat there and said, what the heck? I was like, what the heck? I was like, this is insane. Like these freak offs going on and how they needed 10 bottles per freak off with 2 individuals. I said, if there's one thing that will be known about P. Diddy is that he is crazy. The insanity of it all. And but I just wanted to know how many of you guys are following it. I heard pieces of it yesterday, and Don mentioned it this morning on his show, and I was like, really?
Yeah,
really?
I have heard very little intentionally.
We don't have to dwell here. We don't have to.
Dr. Tox said she know he has gray hair.
Because them sheets were trashed. They had to probably change out those hotel rooms. I mean, they literally had to probably buy a hotel room and just and then they had part of the just a couple of clips. I mean, I'm not giving you any clips, like clips, but and they were sharing that she had she and these male escorts or prostitutes would have to.
It's horrible.
They lived. They had to hang. They were in what they call a baby oil pool. How do you? And so Don was laughing. We're like, how do you swim in a baby oil pool? I mean, I have never heard of a baby oil pool. And so these are the things that are going on at the court here in New York. And Derek says, it's disgusting. Housekeeping needs a raise for cleaning those rooms. And
he should have left a big tip.
I'm telling you, he had to buy a whole new other room. Cass says, have not followed or listened to the whole thing. Heard things here and there, but did not look for it. Good. Okay. So at least I know. At least I know where you guys are. Yeah. Lisa says, it's so good. My son's nanny used to make it. Oh, she's talking about roti.
Right, the bus stop.
That was the bus stop. That's back to the bus stop. Okay. But yeah, that's in the news right now. And it is salacious, crazy, unimaginable, the insanity of it all.
Right.
And I just, when I was
people gonna watch it because they love being.
Human beings love a car crash. They love an accident. They love seeing, the craziness of it all. And I just said, this is absolutely insane.
Yeah.
I just felt so sorry for everybody that was in it because the insanity of it all. But
yeah. I'm one of those weird human beings. When the car crash happens, I'm not running to the street.
Yeah, and I'm not that guy. Like, for instance, there's a car crash, I keep driving.
I mean, we had when DC Sniper took place, one of the shootings was on the corner from my house.
Really?
And we heard it, and my kids heard it, and I was like, we wasn't going outside to see it. We stayed in the house, so I'm that one. I'm not going to see it. Police knocked on the door. We told them what we heard. We actually heard them talking because they were on like right on my corner where they did the shooting. So, and we could hear them talking.
Wow.
So we just kind of said, we're not going out there. We aren't those people.
Yeah, I'm not that.
If I can't do anything to help avoid the car crash, I'm not going to see the aftermath.
Yeah. I used to live on a street called Fulton Street here at the time it was called Bed-Stuy before it went back to Fort Greene. Then it's now at Clinton Hill. But on Fulton Street is where all the hardcore stuff happened, and we lived above a storefront, so we used to see everything. And I literally one day watched a guy, shooting back and forth, and my mother was like, "Stay away from the windows, stay away from the windows."
Right.
So we learned early on not to go to the window when things were happening, or if things were about to start, get away from the windows. Just go back to playing your games. Go back to playing with your toys. Right. That's what my mom used to say to us all the time, to go play with your toys.
And I really think it's going to be, we all have to be careful how we talk about how people deal with abuse.
Yes.
No matter what type of abuse, whether it's physical or mental abuse. And I think that's where we have to be careful with those conversations and how people portray women and why women don't tend to come forward a lot. And even some men who are abused don't come out and talk about being abused either, because of the stigma that goes around with it. And people ask the question of why and how and all this stuff. And people, even I've, with friends of mine and the ones who go and have dealt with not physical, but emotional abuse. And you just keep saying, you just keep saying you can walk away from this, but they keep trying to hang on for whatever reason. I was like, I tell them, I believe in the Kenny Rogers song. You got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, and know when to run.
Run.
I'm that one. I'm going to look at it and I'm going to run when I need to run. But not everyone operates that way. And so we have to have compassion and empathy to understand how that works and how people are groomed to be susceptible to certain things. So there's a certain amount of conditioning and grooming that goes along with all of that. And I think we have to be very careful as people come out and talk about it, particularly her testimony and the testimony of the other people who will testify after her, is, people making statements because they made statements with R. Kelly. They made all kinds of statements. So we just have to be careful how we handle this for the sake of victims that are involved. And I think that's my take on it, is that sake.
Well, here's something that also happened this morning, that the EPA rolled back drinking water limits. That was kind of crazy this morning. I sat there and said, dog it. I said, I am convinced that these people are truly out to kill us.
They're trying to kill us.
That's what it's all about, because you cannot tell me that you have protections on drinking water. People, and these are chemicals that do not break down.
Right. The amount of bacteria and chemicals, yes.
Yeah. And they rolled back, again, obviously because it had Biden's name on it, and they rolled it back. And now these, and again, as we all know, that's going to affect who? People that live in Black and brown communities.
And in all honesty, it's not just about things that were signed by Biden. It's about things that the EPA did to control and make sure things were safe, right? Yes. And so one of them was, if you ever heard about the Black people in particular who were living near these chicken plants and all this, and how contaminated their water was in the environment that they lived in were. And so all of these rollbacks is the thing right there. So one of the things that came out is the whole thing about plants and the emission and not regulating how it impacts local communities, right? And so a big part of why that came about is because of the huge AI plant down in Tennessee. That's not that far from a Black community of about 3,500 people, and how now they're dealing with the pollution from that plant. Excuse me. Because it's not following the regulations. And so and that's one of the reasons for easing the regulation. So they have, 33 or 35 burners down there that I think they burn on methane gas or something. And so they're waking up and they're saying they're smelling gas, and it's triggering people's asthma. All their respiratory issues are being triggered by this. And at one point they tried to say only this 15 were burning, but they did an aerial investigation and found that all of these things were burning. And it's an AI plant for Elonia. So that's where his plant. That's where he has this massive plant. And so they ease that part, so he doesn't have to comply. So it violates all the regulations.
All the regulations.
They stripped EPA of all powers to be able to do anything about it. And so there's nothing they can do on the EPA side, and these people are being impacted by that. But as we look at all the regulations that are being changed, follow it. Jazzy and I talk about this all the time. Let's look at who is there. We're looking at where the money is, looking at who's impacted. And my husband and I were having this big conversation the other day, even where you have, they're going through doing everything to the communities, the underprivileged communities, of those communities that are already struggling. They're easing around poultry farms. They're easing even the poultry, the amount of salmonella. I don't know if you saw that. The amount of salmonella that testing that was supposed to be for the poultry. So people are going to die. You're going to have more and more people sick off of it. You're going to really have to think about where's that chicken. And I tell y'all, just get that vinegar and water and the limes and things and wash that chicken, and not act like these people who say don't wash chicken and wonder why they're so sick.
Yeah.
They're rolling back all of the food protections.
Food protect. But you have to say why. It's like the insanity is, this is protecting people from getting sick. Which also, again, allegedly, that people have been saying for years that the government is in on it and allowing people to get sick because they also feeds into the pharmaceutical industry. Right. So all these things that keep, we don't know where the lines are, but we do know the lobbyists are there for whatever reasons they are. They are professional lobbyists.
Right.
And, but to roll back things that protect people, again, this is why America is looked at as such a strange place. There are people that want to come here that may not know the whole story of America, but those that know America, they're like, I don't want to go to that country.
Right. And Gwendolyn said it right. Keeping people sick is big business, because it's like a doctor's appointment. And I told you what I told my doctor. I said, you are not a manager of health. You're a manager of diseases. I said, so you're not giving me something. You're not saying, what can I do to make sure you're healthy? You're saying, how can I treat this symptom by giving you more stuff that's going to make you sicker, right?
Yes.
That's all they do. So you go in and you have high blood pressure. Where's the scan to find out what's going on in your body?
Yes.
There isn't one. Here's the pill, but it's coming from something internal.
Yes.
And so what is it? Is it just my stress? It's not hereditary. We can't boil everything down. Just tell them they inherited it. But what if neither one of my parents had high blood pressure?
Mm-hmm.
And so what's happening with my vessels to cause
exactly
that internal health? So it's about that part. And then understand, these rich people they hated these regulations because that meant they had to make sure they had infrastructure that protected people, including their workers. You got to remember, the workers are also subjected to this. And so they rolled it back. And a lot of the things that have changed, and a lot of these departments that have been under fire have been either investigating his friend from South. Most of them are places where he wanted regulations gone.
Yeah.
And so it's just a systematic way of doing it.
Man,
he does have that town in Texas where he's going to put that school, Lisa.
But again, you see, it's the school. Sorry, it's the environment. That's why he wanted to get rid of the EPA, and pretty much have stripped it of everything that it was. And you want to tear down the forest. You want to convert our beautiful parks, national parks, and now want to drill on them or cut down the forest. The insanity. How I keep trying to figure out maybe we won't be able to figure it out. I can't figure it out. The mindset behind it all. Like, what kind of mind you have to just keep wanting to destroy.
Yeah, and people will, with all of the no matter who is there, the more they allow drilling or fracking or whatever, that's where these earthquakes in places where people aren't used to having earthquakes are coming from.
Yeah.
Because I taught kids in after school science class about the shifting of tectonic plates.
Yes.
But when you start putting holes in the Earth's core,
yes,
putting those holes in there, you create more shifts, right? They're not the plate that you knew about. Now you're creating new fractures.
Yes.
And those fractures spread out. So Jazzy talked about the Medicaid that they're voting to cut now, which will take place in 2029. So the Democrats, if they back in office, can take the blame for it. Jazzy, that's kind of like the tax thing that was running all the way through Biden's administration.
Exactly.
And just ended it this year. So
it's ending this year, right? It
ended this year.
Yeah. So again, people kept saying throughout Biden's administration, why can't you do this with taxes? Why can't you do this with taxes? And they don't realize that they passed laws that expired in 2025, and there was nothing they could do because that was the law. Right. The tax rate or the taxes that we had that were created from Trump in his first administration that ran through the 4 years of the Biden administration.
Right.
And again, when people don't know the facts, and
people need to understand the difference between a law and an executive order.
An executive order.
And these people are trying to put it into law.
Yes.
All of these things that they're trying to put into law and trying to limit conversations on. And then, I still go back to old Chuck.
Yes.
Out here giving them the right to go on and vote without trouble. You need to be making some trouble.
You need to make some trouble. And they should have shut. I know that there's a different, but most Americans that are on the side of democracy said they should have shut the government down and not given Trump those rights.
Yeah, and there are people who said I don't agree with that. But at the end of the day, if you don't do something, this is what happens, right?
You don't stand for something, you'll fall for everything.
Yeah, so we live with the consequences of it all. And so here we are. Here we are.
Here we are.
Fighting this budget and trying to make sure that these things happen. Yeah, Alieze, they talked about not exempting those taxes on tips or overtime. And even when you read Project 2025 about overtime, it was how they were going to manipulate and have overtime.
Yes.
So that it wasn't going to be taxed because it wasn't going to be there. And the Social Security part, you're going to not tax Social Security. Well, you can. It's this thing I used to say to people, and I said it one time to a former superintendent of DC Public Schools that I helped get fired, is that you're trained to promise people anything until you get what you want.
There you go.
And I say people because at first I used to say men are trained to promise women anything and just to get them to say I do or to get at the cookies, right? They'll promise you anything
to get the cookies.
At the end of the day, you find out it's real. And there are women who do it as well. There are women that do it. Facade as well, have their mask. And as soon as that man asks them to marry him and they say, I do, she turns into a whole different human being. So that's what people do. And so that's what he did. He's that person who said, I'm going to do all of these things. But by the way, I'm here now. And it's not that easy to cut these grocery prices. It's not that easy to do that. And you're going to suffer for a little while, but I'm going to be okay.
Yes. Or you're only getting $2. I don't know anyone that buys $30, but I mean the $2. Yeah. And the whole thing with obviously the tariffs being moved down from 145% to 30%, which is still high for the consumer because the consumer still pays the tariffs.
And for those who have somehow in their mind tricked themselves, I call it living in the reality distortion field.
Yes.
The U.S. didn't win anything. He didn't win
nothing.
Because on the other side, China said only 10%. So their people aren't going to pay, aren't losing out on much of anything. But you still got that 30% tariff on you. So it wasn't even about that. And at the end of the day, was it about getting another bump on the stock market? And now he's over in the UAE getting all his bribes. And everyone says, oh, it's okay. It's okay.
He is the biggest
grifter.
I mean, grifter,
carpetbagger.
It's all. I mean, medicine man. It's like he is the worst of it all. I mean, again, same thing with this plane. This whole thing about the Air Force One, and he wants to change it. They said just so the FAA came out. I think it was yesterday, or I know they mentioned it this morning. For him to get that plane, even if it's a $400 million plane, right? It's a $400 million plane. However, it's sitting somewhere. I think it was in
Texas.
It's in Texas, right? It was on the in the field, what do you call the hangar, right. Outside of a hangar. He saw it. He wanted it, and then so they said they want to gift it to him. But one, it's against our Constitution. The Constitution is very clear, word for word, no gifts from kings, leaders, all. It gives you the whole list in the Constitution.
Right.
But they said if he would be able to accept it,
right,
they would have to tear down the plane down to its rivets and then rebuild it again. And if he received this plane, he would not have use for it in his so-called term.
Right.
So if he's here for 4 years, they say it will take 5 to 6 years to get it up to snuff to be what they call Air Force One ready. Mm-hmm. Again, he's a grifter. He's just a freaking grifter.
Yeah, I see Jazzy talk about being a federal government worker. You can't receive gifts above $25. Jazzy, as a DC government employee, I couldn't receive a gift over $10.
Right.
I could not receive anything over $10 from a child or a parent, anyone, because it would then look like I was being bribed for something. And of course, we know that there's bribery in it. We know that.
We know that they get around by saying, "Oh, I'll donate to your charity, or I donate to your community," or something. I mean, there's always ways to get around it, but this is just blatantly in your face. Yeah. We are going to give you the plane.
Yeah, and they're no longer doing anything. They're doing it out in public because they feel they are above the law, right?
Yeah, above the law.
You gripe about Hunter Biden and his laptop or whatever, but his son is over in Dubai or one of those places in the UAE, building a Trump tower or something.
Yes.
Like, so they're getting billions of dollars for that. So we that's how the American people are, that particular group of people. But if you were to take out his name and put some Biden's name, Obama's name in there, they should go to jail. They should be impeached. At this point, they would have been calling for impeachment for someone else, but not for him, because rightfully so. The violations of all of the government pieces, and Bundy finding out that she had a financial relationship with the people in Qatar that was paying her over $100,000 a year.
Yes. Did you see that? Did you see that connection?
And so naturally, why wouldn't she say it was okay? Because she was also she got money from these exact people.
It's all about the money. They always say, when you see corruption, follow the dollars, follow the money. Yes. Here's our last one. It was next to last. The South Africans have arrived, and talking about genocide and all the crazies of crazies. If again, this is about whiteness. And I will say it again, it's white supremacy. And the gentleman that I don't even call him, the person that's at the Trump administration told them they were the seed, they were the golden seed to our country.
I want to change how we use one word. I want to take out supremacy.
What do you want to call it? What do you want to say?
It's about whiteness, period. Because they're not superior. Because to say supremacy gives them power.
Yes.
I'm not going to say supremacy. It's about white extremism. It's about all of those. It's about white hatred. It's about all of those things. That's what it's about. So about white power and control. It's not about them being superior to anything. That's just being my quirkiness. It's just like that.
No. I love your quirkiness. You always give us something to think about. It's like it's like I was online one I'm in the Instagram streets, as in like postings, and this young Black guy was on, and he says we must get certain words out of our vocabulary, and one of them was the master bedroom.
Right, I saw that.
And he was like, we don't use master bedroom in our home. We don't use it in our terminology. He said, because that term comes from slavery, when the master had his bedroom. And so we do not use phrasings. And so I'm always, I love when people challenge my reasoning or challenge my thinking or challenge what I've traditionally done. Now, I don't think I've used master bedroom.
Right. But some people call it the master bedroom.
Yeah, but people call it the master suite, the master bedroom.
Master suite, right?
Yeah.
And I have a story from when I was teaching. Well, I wasn't quite teaching yet. Mm-hmm. I was actually on a parent advisory committee. And the principal of the school was like, yeah, we can change it and then I'll be the headmaster. I said, not here. I said, we're not having any masters here. You're going to be the principal. Right. You're going to have to come up with something else, because we're not having any masters here. I said, because you just gave me a flashback. And that was like in 1997 or something when I told this man that. And he was like, I said, we're not going to ever call you a headmaster. Never. Because I said, that's not acceptable. And and that's what they do at a lot of private schools, but that was just never going to happen.
The headmaster.
Yeah. And I said, language matters.
Yeah, language matters. And so we have to also begin to tear down that language that represents, that came from colonization and the things of came from slavery and the institution of slavery. We have to tear them down brick by brick. Right. I wanted to share this one footage because I want you to just listen to this footage. It's from the Time magazine, and as in yesterday's landing of the Africans with a K. I like to always say. Here we go, and listen to this, and here we go.
The Trump administration has brought a group of white South Africans to the U.S. as refugees. When President Trump came to office in January, he stopped all refugee admissions coming into the United States. Put that in context, the U.S. admitted about 100,000 refugees last year from around the world. Now, the Trump administration has picked out a group of white Afrikaners from South Africa to bring in as refugees. Afrikaners are descendants of Dutch settlers who came to South Africa in the 1600s. As a minority group in South Africa, they were also responsible for the apartheid laws that allowed the minority.
I want you to notice what these people, and I always say this over and over again, these people were responsible for the apartheid laws. These people were a minority. They came to a land of a majority African people, Black people, and they came in and created these minorities. They weren't even from there. They weren't born there. They didn't have any connection there. And they, for 50 years, almost more than 50 years, created a whole system of apartheid. And then yet they are freaking out because people are correcting what they did in masses on that
white
land.
South Africans to rule the country from the 1940s until the 1990s. The Trump administration says that the South African government has passed laws in the last year that discriminate against these white South Africans, and they are subject to having their land taken away and have also been subject to violence. A Time reporter asked President Trump about his decision to admit white South Africans as refugees. This is what he said.
It's a genocide that's taking place that you people don't want to write about, but it's a terrible thing that's taking place. Farmers are being killed. They happen to be white, but whether they're white or black makes no difference to me.
The South African government says that police and crime statistics in the country do not support that, and there isn't data that shows that white South Africans have been targeted for violence. When this group of white South Africans landed in the United States, they were greeted by Trump administration officials, including a State Department official who called them quality seed and said,
oh, that's the word. It was they are called quality seed. Take that in. I just kind of absorb that phrasing. Right. They are the quality seed.
That they would bloom inside the United States.
and then finish that off. And he says, and they will bloom in the United States. I just want you to get the visualization.
Right.
Quality seed. Remember, I keep saying they're bringing these people in, and I'm guarantee you, some of these folks know how apartheid runs and how it's created. And again, you see in our country every week, every day, there's a Black person being kicked out of their job and replaced by a person that has no qualifications. Right. So you'll have like the librarian from the Library of Congress. She has a list of credentials, and then the guy that was the lawyer that was in charge of his case here in New York City takes over that position with no qualifications, and never have done anything for any library in any way.
Right.
But this is, again, putting people in place. They are trying to create an apartheid nation here in the United States.
Yeah. And you have to control the flow of information. You have to control knowledge. You have to control the education. You got to control that part. And that's what it's a part of. And so when you look at, there was a video, and I was trying to find who posted it. But there's a video of this white guy. He was like, I'm not going to let a white man suffer, and I'm taking it in South Africa. And it was back in 2019. So he took in a family of 4. Because that's how he started out. I don't take these South Africans in. They over here being, treated badly over there. And so he takes this family of 4. And by 2020, he's saying how he has spent over $30,000 on this family. They did nothing, and how horrible they were, and how they got into big fights and everything, and how he regretted that. But my thing is, like, you let your hatred control you. You let your hatred of Black people and anyone that was non-white control you, so that you made the mistake of bringing horrible people over here. Now, we got to understand, they're not getting the best. You're not getting the best and brightest of anything. You've never gotten the best and brightest from the inception of this country coming from Europe. They didn't send their best over here to begin with. And so you're not getting the best from South Africa.
No.
These people, the South African white people talk about them, right?
Well, like I said, I lived in South Africa for just 3 months of my lifetime in South Africa. And I had lots of conversations, because I have lots of friends now in South Africa, but for my time living there. And I used to have these incredible conversations about the people. And again, these are racist, bigoted, horrible apartheid flinging people, and they literally live in the outskirts of different parts of South Africa, outside of Cape Town, outside of mostly outside of Johannesburg. And you go out to the far reaches, and they have what they call white-only settlements.
Mm-hmm.
So Black people are Africans. This is their land.
Right.
And they're not allowed on these settlements. And they do just like they do here in America. They have the camps with the guns and all the other stuff, and they have their own little societies. And they feel like they're persecuted because they want to hold on to the 50 years of what they created as apartheid, 50 years of history in South Africa. And don't believe the hype that all white people feel this way, because most of the white people that I know in South Africa hate these people, and they want them gone. So think about it. South Africa right now is saying, thank God they're taking these people away from us. I mean, think about it. The people in South Africa are like, good riddance, be gone and be good riddance. But the whole thing, the cloaking of trying to cloak it as in genocide.
Right.
Look, real genocide. How about let's go to the Gaza Strip?
Let's go to Gaza Strip.
Let's go where you want to talk about genocide.
Right.
But these people, and they are not poor. These people, these Afrikaans with the K, are not poor. They are not being persecuted. They are not being killed. Now, like I said yesterday, there was an incident when these zealots were roaming around the cities and doing their thing, and a couple of white people did die, but a lot of Africans died, like Black Africans from Zimbabwe, from Zambia, from all different parts of from Nigeria. They were killed in this rampage of these, they're like 20, 30, maybe 40 people around the country that was xenophobic people.
Right.
But there is no genocide in South Africa.
Right.
Now, nowhere. Again, go to Sudan. Think if you want to help people, bring those people here.
They're not gonna do that because
right.
they won't
go to the Gaza Strip. Those people are starving right now. Right now, there is a hunger crisis on the Gaza Strip. Israel is not giving them food.
They will not allow food to come in at all.
That's genocide.
Right. But you're not going to bring those people in. You're not going to treat them with kindness. You're going to bring in the ones that are going to grow the numbers you want to grow.
Grow the numbers and also become part of their administration, just like we just heard 2 days ago. Now ICE is using, allegedly, I don't know exactly, I didn't get the exact facts, but I did see it on the news on 2 days ago, that the Proud Boys are now being recruited to help ICE.
Yeah, I believe it. Them and probably some of those January 6 people.
So the Proud Boys are from January 6th.
Right.
And they said also 26, they said some of the folks from the 26th, January 6th. January 6 people are embedded in some of these ICE movements.
Absolutely. And I mean, what would make us think they were not? I mean, that's their thing. That's what they were doing. And so they're going to use all those people. And I think, I think that the part about this is, there are white Americans who didn't want them over here either.
Yes. Because the white farmers don't want them. The white farmers don't want these people in America because one, they're getting what they call, they landed yesterday. So they landed Monday. They landed on Monday. And then they're getting what they call the express line to citizenship.
Right. That's what they're
doing. The whole thing of being upset of people getting fast tracked.
Right.
They didn't like it when it was people of color getting fast tracked. Right. They didn't want to help people like the refugees from Haiti who came here because of earthquakes, because of all the stuff that was going on, the unrest. You want to talk about, this is why I always say these people are such, I don't look at the news as much as I used to because it's just so much, it's too much lying vessels on television.
Right.
They just lie.
And some of the people who are being deported have been waiting for 3 years because they went through the process and they're showing up at their hearings and being locked up and deported.
Yes.
So, they've gone through the process, but you are now making, you had a whole greeting thing, flew a plane over there to get these people.
Right. A chartered plane.
Right.
Not even like
our money that we paid for. We paying for all of this.
We're paying for all of it. 52 people from South Africa, racist, apartheid related people.
Right. And we're paying for it all. And I was looking at Jazzy's comment down there. I saw that video, Jazzy. I thought that was very interesting with the British woman talking about how they civilize people. I said, and the Moors taught them how to bathe. Get out of here.
Yes.
How you civilize someone who was already civilized, or someone who already had their own educational structures?
Man,
whose educational structures you stole from.
Yes.
You stole geometry, not from your people. That wasn't you. That didn't come from you. So you can't even think about that part and just the mindset of, and it was interesting to listen to that, but I also like the gentleman who responded to them because he was like, no, that's not right. No, he never wavered. He kept going in on them, but he was a white guy. And that's what has to happen. They have to have those conversations.
They have to have the conversation with their own communities and their own selves.
Yeah, but before we, I know you have another topic.
Nope, that was it. There was one thing I just wanted to share about AI headshots, but we can do that tomorrow.
So to go back to something I mentioned months ago, and that's our HBCUs and how they're going to come under attack and what they're now doing to FAMU.
Yes.
They've gotten rid of the president. They want to bring this Black woman in there who's one of their people, who has no affiliation with FAMU at all, who has no background in higher education, to come in there and implement their whatever program it is. So you're gonna put her over, try to get her chosen. And they were reaching out to the board, telling them to reach out to the board members so that this woman is not appointed, not voted president of their institution, because she has no affiliation with it and her background, her history. And that's their, once, if they can get her in, it's going to be the dismantling of their courses. They have all of the HBCU have courses that have detailed history courses, all of the information they give you on our people's history, and the things that they have around campus. It's going to be dismantling of curriculum. It's going to be going after their professors. Even with the whole idea of putting them under the White House, is there, let's audit your program, right? You gonna play Will Packard?
I'm gonna play it since you're on it.
Urgent message for alumni and students of Florida A&M University, and a warning for all those who love and support HBCUs. HBCUs are under attack. MAGA is trying to take over leadership at several of our beloved institutions. Right now, FAMU is in the bullseye. Hear me loud and clear. Right this very minute, a group of activist Republicans are trying to put in the highest position of power someone who is solidly and objectively unqualified for it. Her name is Marva Johnson. FAMU deserves better. Marva Johnson has been named a finalist for the FAMU presidency by Florida Republicans who sit on the presidential search committee. Let me tell you a little bit about Marva Johnson. She is a career lobbyist with no experience in higher education administration. Literally the same amount of higher education admin experience as you or I. Zero. None. Now, this is not just about her being a staunch Republican. Everyone has a right to their own political affiliations. But what we cannot allow is a hostile takeover by someone who is aligned with a party that has loudly and proudly espoused ideologies that attack diversity and diverse institutions, attack equitable economics, and attack inclusive principles. The exact pillars that institutions like FAMU were built upon. There is no place for that hateful and divisive rhetoric, not at the College of Love and Charity. As an active and proud alumni who has given money, who has given time, and who has given untold effort to the place that helped shape me, I refuse to sit idly by and watch others attempt to destroy the legacy that so many who came before us have built. Neither should you. Now, this process is moving fast. These 13 individuals make up the FAMU Board of Trustees. Possibly as soon as next week, they will vote on the next president. We have to act now. I want you to take a minute to do two things. First, screenshot this page right now and reach out to as many of these trustees as you can to let them know that FAMU is too important to be entrusted to the likes of Marva Johnson. Second, I want you to add your name to the FAMU Deserves Better petition created by FAMU students at change.org. And then stay tuned for more details on student-led protests taking place on campus in Tallahassee next Wednesday, May 14th.
That's today, y'all.
It's time to take
today. Right
now, Rattler Nation.
That's today.
FAMU deserves better. Let's go.
There you have it.
Yeah. And, to kind of jog our memory and take it so that we don't forget, TSU, Tennessee, remember they got rid of their advisory board.
Yes.
And they weren't giving them the money they were supposed to have, which is the case in a lot of these red states, not giving the HBCU schools the money, right? So that's where they're coming for. I think they were taking over $60 million away from Howard as something right after you say, oh, I'm gonna bring them over here and do all these wonderful things, but I'm gonna take the $60 million. But their whole point is understanding that they're not limiting their attempt to control what people learn to trying to go after these private PWIs. They're coming after HBCUs a lot, and a big part of the issue is our endowments at our school are traditionally not very high because there's not a high endowment giving, right? Not a lot of companies come out. There's no Google attached to them to give them
Yes.
all that, a lot of
Yes.
money. And so it's how do we make sure they're vigilant, and how do those make sure they're vigilant, because they're going to come after all of them, and especially those ones that
everything Black. They're coming after everything Black. Every single executive order that they can roll back. They're trying to break down the laws. They're trying to all the civil rights, everything. They're going after everything. Yeah. They don't want Black people in power at all. Right. They don't want Black people at the seat. No, they want everything. Again, this week, I should say, was it Friday? Or maybe during the weekend, they roll back that on the federal level.
Right.
You can now put up a white only sign.
Yeah, right. And but my thing is like, so as they roll back, right? The key with not them voting on against everything that's Black, our educational institution is everything. They don't want information. They don't want truth being told through education, right? So we have to remember that the way that you destroy societies is through education.
Education and
get rid of education because you want control. So you take the education and you mess up the arts. You start attacking artists as well. And I believe in radical arts as the artist, as you can see with the artist piece behind me.
Yes.
And really, let's not forget, this did start with the Supreme Court making a decision to allow this person the ability to run, to give them certain immunities. This lays squarely at the feet of 6 justices. And we need to remember that. But at the same time, we need to make sure that we are not so distracted by the stories that they put out to distract us, that we aren't paying attention to what they're doing to destroy us and to destroy those things that we benefit from. And I think that's really critical. I know Howard University had one of their largest graduating classes. They had 3,500 people graduate, which was an increase for them. But they still have the thumb of the federal government on them because of federal monies that they receive. And those endowments at the schools aren't there. And so we have to figure out, as they said, donate to HBCUs. We have to donate to them. And we need to help that out. But we also have to be very vigilant, because the news is not going to tell the story.
Exactly.
We have to make sure that the story gets out, right? So we have to be alert and understand why it's happening. Understand that their fear is our education, our knowledge and information about the truth. And Jazzy said it earlier in the chat. What white society needs to hear is the truth. Yes. And they're so afraid of the truth is why they're trying to suppress all the education. Is because they don't want they don't want to get rid of the big lie. The biggest lie in the world that they live on is the civil rights war was fought for states' rights. No, it was fought for the states' right to keep people enslaved. So we need to say what the right was. And I think that's why I say it's so important how we control the narrative when we speak, how we control language when we speak. Mm-hmm. That's why I say when you say supremacy, that still gives them something. It's about white control. It's not about them being supreme. That's what it is, and that's what we have to focus on, because we can get caught up in semantics, and they can use those words to say, yeah, you see, they say we're superior. No, they're not. And I think, and we have to also look at how we talk about ourselves and how we talk in public to each other. I think we have to concentrate on not tearing each other down in public, and we have to constantly look at our language. And there are people who want to hang on to some language because one of certain words, it's like, oh yeah, I still say that word because I took it. You didn't take anything back. The word still means the same thing, and it still has the same power. And honestly, you still use it with the same negative connotations. It's not like you made it any better, right?
Exactly.
So we have to understand. We have to be willing to change ourselves and unlearn some bad behaviors that we've been groomed to have. We have to start understanding that that our children are important and critical, and we need to understand how to control that and not buy into, let them have their freedom. They're free to die. That's what you want them to have.
Control the narrative. We must control our narrative. Yeah. Well, that's it. For today, Alieze.
Yes.
Where can people find you for your show this evening?
It's on Thursday.
Oh, it's Thursday. It's tomorrow.
Yes,
So
tomorrow
evening.
on Instagram at SALIEZE_, and it will be live at 7:30. And I definitely try to get there on time at 7:30. So be there.
Let me
and
get
it's
it.
I love this artist, and I think you all will find it intriguing. Her art intriguing.
I am loving that you are going out there and doing it, young lady. So proud of you.
Look,
and so this is here it is. Let me just show you the actual advertisement. So that way it's there. So you'll see it here, and that way it will be part of this video so people can see it later on. And here we go. Let me put that up there on the screen, because Alieze is working her artistic magic.
Look, I'm trying to do some things that I was commissioned to do.
Yes.
Divinely commissioned to do.
There you go. And there it is. That's the information. Addicted to Art Conversation with Autumn Spears. Join the IG live conversation Thursday, May 17th at 7:30. So make sure there are the Instagram accounts. Sorry, May 15th. And there you go, 7:30 p.m. Okay, let's check it out. I will be there. I'll have my have a photo shoot tomorrow night, but I will, as I'm coming back home in my Uber, I will be listening.
Yeah, Grant, I'm trying to stay motivated and follow through and be consistent on things. Hence the reason, even putting up a website that's gonna be more developed later on. It was one morning. I don't think I ever told you all this story. So one morning I woke up and I believe in the voice of God and speaking to you. And the voice was like, you need to complete at least one of the tasks I've given you. So get up and complete this website. Do what you're supposed to do. And so I was like, I hear you. And I said, so I got up and did it, because I have been sitting on my gifts, and that story comes back. The parable of the talents comes back to me all the time. I sit on gifts. And yesterday I heard somebody sent me a DM about your gifts, not using your gifts. Then Tabitha Brown said something last night about gifts. I said, I hear you. And I tell people about that. So you think about the parable of the talents. God has given all of us, we all have some gifts. And we choose to either to go ahead and do it. Those people who will step out there and do it, go ahead and do it. But then there are people like myself who sit on them for a long time and not use them. And then what you don't use. And so you sit on the talents, the story goes that people don't know. So one has 10 talents given to him by the person. One has 5 and one has 1.
Yes.
And they come back a year later, and the one that had 10 now has 20. So he gives the master the 10 back.
Yes.
The other one has 5. They go out and do what they're supposed to do, and they give them the 5 back. The one was so afraid of losing something that they buried it and never used it. So they came back with nothing. So therefore, he ended up with nothing and continued to be in servitude. And so we have to ask ourselves that with the gifts that we have, what are we doing with our gifts? And I know I have gifts. I know I've been given gifts that have to do with not just these things and not just I've been given the gift of being able to discern things. How do I use that gift with the people that I talk to? How do I use the gifts that God gave me? My voice. My voice has a place someplace. And I have been so reluctant and so caught up in how do I serve other people and show up for them and wear a mask instead of saying, what am I supposed to be doing?
Yeah.
And how does that service, in what I was doing as service, it wasn't using my gifts. It was just showing up the way I thought the world wanted me to, not showing up with the gifts that I've been blessed with. So now it's just that time when I said, I'm not going to sit on the gifts. And I want people to look at me and understand that age does not have anything to do with it. Brian
That's
and
right.
both of us has nothing to do with it. I'll be 69 next month. I'll be 69 next month. And I am right now feeling like I am definitely living my life, not just existing, really for the first time in my life. Because for so long I was tethered to other people and taking care of other people that I never lived life fully and lived out my potential and believed in my potential.
I
So
love
now
it.
I'm believing in my potential and believing in me. And that's what I want you all to do. Believe in yourself, whatever that is. Go out there and believe in that. I'm an excellent baker. I know that. And I did it for a long time and I still do it. My husband keeps saying, you can still do that. And I said, yes, I can. I can do that. If people want something that I have and I make, I'll be glad to send it. But the thing is, it's not just one thing. So most of the time we say, what is my purpose? What's my one thing? It may not
many
be one.
purposes.
We have many purposes. We have many talents. Remember, the one person had 10.
Yeah.
The other one had 5. There's no limit to your talents. The only thing that limits you is you and your mindset. And so I adopted the growth mindset. I haven't done some things yet, but I'm going to do a lot of things. And I'm going to hold myself accountable for those because no one else is responsible for that except for me. I'm the only thing holding me back. And I'll say with everyone else, the only thing that's holding you back from getting what you want or using the talents that you've been gifted with is you.
Well, you all guys know my story of that. That's it was that verse. That was that portion. I had just arrived home from South Africa. Sat here, I was getting my breakfast, and then a TV program came on, and it was sharing the exact scripture. And I said, "Oh man!" I've been a youth director, youth leader, youth worker, and helping, and all that stuff, and have shared that. I've even shared it and spoke it at rallies, youth rallies, and church services, and all that stuff when I used to speak like that. And but for the first time, it had like a major ring in my ears, and it began my life change. That's when my life started to change because I was so settled that going to work and punching in was a good and easy thing. But then I started out, and that one day, and before you knew it, that was in January. I came home in February, first week of March. So came home in the first week of March, and by that December, I had put in my resignation, got on a plane, and went to live in South Africa for 3 months.
Yeah, well,
and that was the beginning of my career as a photographer. And I've never looked back. And I'm still alive. The mortgage is still getting paid. The maintenance is getting paid.
Absolutely.
I'm still alive, and I'm still, doing. But also in being obedient to that has opened so many doors, because here I am talking to you guys, which is something that was so foreign to me, as in being on live. I used to hate video. I was terrified of it, didn't like to be. And now here I am. I'm on here every day talking to you guys and fulfilling something that my godmother said when I was a kid. Boy, your mouth. You have the gift of gab. You just love to talk. And I said, and here I am doing something I am naturally wired to do. And that is talk. And I am naturally committed to learning about people and subjects and sharing it. So here we are.
I never thought this would have happened 7 years ago. It's been 7 years now. It'll be 7 years in October. When and I tell people this all the time, when God said, I do this gently, but you need to leave this place.
Yeah. And
what happened to me had nothing to do with him punishing me. It had me knowing that I needed to walk away from something, because I was not myself. I was not doing what I was intended to do. Yes, I was an educator for a long time, and that was the part that I was supposed to do at that time. I'm still an educator. My sharing is the artist is education. And I never, ever in my wildest thought that I would be online live sharing art with people or sharing my thoughts with people. I never thought that would happen.
And here you are.
Yep.
Here you are every week with us, hanging out and sharing your your perspective and your education and the knowledge. And it's, you know what? Again, if you just step out and do what you are called to do, everyone has a calling and everyone has several callings. And Gwendolyn and I talk about this all the time. People, this is not, we are taught in America growing up, get that one job, be an expert at that one thing, do that one thing, and that's it, and then you die.
Right.
But that is not how we live in today's world. We are many things. We have many talents. We have many goals, many things to accomplish in life. And life has many chapters. You have one chapter 10 years ago, now you have another one, and it keeps moving. The chapters keep being written and you keep living it out. So guys out there who are listening, this was for someone out there that's listening. And this is a good way to close out. Guys, pursue your talents, wherever that is, go, or I should say, whatever they are, go after every one of them. And as you go after the first one, I guarantee you, it will open doors to the second one. And then you go for that one, it opens the doors to the third one. And then next thing you know, I didn't know I liked that. I didn't know I had a desire to do that. And then you open up another door. And before you know it, you look back and say, wow, I've had a full life.
Right. Absolutely. You show up in a room and you say, man, I didn't know that I could hold court. I didn't know people would pay attention to what I have to say and find it valuable. Yeah. And that's where that part comes in. You just go and be yourself and stop putting that mask on every day. Stop putting on a mask every day for the world that you think they want. What people really want is the real you. That's really what they want.
There you go. And just share every day. Okay, guys. We are out of here. I love you guys. We'll be here tomorrow. And tomorrow is our Trend Watch Thursday. And there's a lot in the news. But even though we talk about some of the stuff that's happening in the news, like Trump stuff, I always like to make sure it points back to who we are and how we can be better because of what's going on in the world. I'm not into the salacious. That's not my thing. We are here to learn and to grow and become better as a community. Yes. Okay, guys, I love you, and I will see you tomorrow. Thank you, Alieze, for being with me today. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Later.
All right. Have a good one.
Bye. Hello, and thank you for joining us today. Make sure you hit the like, the subscribe, and leave a comment on this video. I would love to hear from you. Thank you again. Until I see you next time.